Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badaraya Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashivasamaramбhaं Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Vande Guru-paramparam Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudiraye. So yesterday we saw Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Gunakarma Vibhagashah Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. So because there is no Kartritva Buddhi, Krishna said earlier that this was not only true for him but for everyone. Anyone who looks upon Ishvara as oneself Atma, as the Akarta, is also Akarta. I'm going to read these two paras one more time. Only from the standpoint of the world and the four groups of people in it can we take Krishna to be the doer, the Karta. Whereas from his own standpoint, from Parameshwara's standpoint, in reality, he is not the Karta of anything. Therefore, he is not subject to blame. A person has a particular karma that determines whether he is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Sudra. Which type a jiva is born into is a jiva's own doing and has nothing whatsoever to do with Ishvara. This fourfold division is in the creation. Those who have sattva as a predominant quality become brahmanas, and those who have rajas as predominant become kshatriyas or vaishyas. It all depends on one's composition. Everyone has the capacity to change his or her composition because everyone has a free will. One's composition has nothing to do with Ishvara. He is only the giver of the results of action, karma phala data, and is completely impartial in this regard. Ishvara is karta from the standpoint of what is created and akarta from the standpoint of his own knowledge about himself, meaning that for him there is no notion that I am the doer. That is, he has no kartritva buddhi. Krishna said earlier that this was not only true for him, but for everyone. Anyone who looks upon Ishvara as oneself, Atma, as the akarta, is also akarta. Further, Krishna says, Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spruha, iti mam yobhijanati, karma bhirna sabadhyate. Karmani, actions, mam, me, na limpanti, do not affect, karma phale, with reference to the result of action, me, for me, na spriha, there is no longing, iti, thus, yaha, the one who, mam, me, abhijanati, knows clearly, saha, that person, karma bhihi, by actions, na badhyate, is not bound. Karmani mam na limpanti, karma phale me na spriha iti, yaha mam abhijanati, saha karma bhihi na badhyate. Actions do not affect me. There is no longing with reference to the result of action for me. The one who knows me clearly in this way is not bound by actions. In this verse, Krishna reveals a fact about himself as Bhagavan and extends it to the individual also. Even though Bhagavan has created the world and everything in it and performs various actions to keep it going, all these actions, whatever be their nature, do not affect him. Hence he says, Namam karmani limpanti. The actions do not touch me. They do not bind him, meaning that they do not create sukha and dukkha for him because they do not create punya, papa for him as they do for a jiva. And why do his actions not affect him? Because the notion, I am the doer, is not there for him. The jiva, on the other hand, superimposes the notion of doership upon the Atma and then thinks that the self is doing all the actions. And once you have doership, kartritva, you also have enjoyership called bhoktritva. A person who looks upon himself or herself as a doer has to answer for all the actions he or she does. But in fact, the self is not a karta. When a person knows this particular fact, he or she no longer looks upon himself or herself as a karta and is therefore unaffected by karma. The question here may then become, if Krishna knew he was not a doer, why did he do karma? Was it because of a desire to accomplish something? No, he says. With reference to the result of action, there was no longing, no craving, no want whatsoever in him. Name karma phale spriha. Therefore, when he performed karma, it was not for gaining a result for himself. He did not look upon himself as one who was going to be better by performing a certain action. Know yourself to be a non-doer. While this may be true for Ishvara, what about me, you may ask? What about the jiva, the individual, who is affected by all his or her actions and who also longs for certain results? This state of affairs is only for the ignorant, the verse tells us. The one who knows him clearly, yaha mam abhijanati, Krishna says, can also say, actions do not affect me. I do not long for their results. Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spriha. Actions do not bind such people, nor do they crave for the results of action to make themselves better. The word janati means knows, and abhijanati means knows clearly. The one who knows Ishvara clearly as oneself is being talked about here. There is no other way of knowing the Paramatma, the non-doer. The Atma that is common here is the one who does not do, the one who is free from all attributes. This is the Atma that Krishna is talking about. For Atma, then, there is no doership, no enjoyership. As long as the notion of doership is there, there is a distinct entity. And when this notion of doership is gone, enjoyership also goes, leaving only the Atma that has no distinguishing features whatsoever. The Atma that is non-doer, non-enjoyer, performs no action whatsoever. If Atma has no distinguishing feature of its own, how many Atmas can there be? Absence of distinguishing features means that there is only one Atma. There is no Ishvara Atma and Jiva Atma. No difference, Bheda, exists between the two. There is only one Atma who is Ishvara, who is Jiva. Why then the seeming difference? It is all due to Upadhi alone. One Upadhi is total, Samashti Upadhi, called Ishvara. And the other is individual, Vyashti Upadhi, called Jiva. A person who knows Atma as neither a doer nor an enjoyer knows Ishvara as oneself. Like Krishna, this person is not bound by the various karmas that he or she may do. So, sa karma bihi na badhyate. Whether these actions be scripturally enjoined or worldly, Vaidika karma or Laukika karma. This particular verse is said to be a Mahavakya because Jiva and Ishvara are equated. Krishna's words, I am not bound, and anyone who knows me is also not bound, reveal the identity between Ishvara and the Jiva, an identity that must be understood. This understanding is liberation, moksha. In the next verse, Krishna again tells Arjuna how to gain this knowledge. So,
Brahmaraji,
yeah.
Little pause.
Yeah.
Go back. I liked one sentence there, not in this paragraph, the other page. Other page. Here. And why do his actions not affect him? Because the notion I am the doer is okay. When a person knows this particular fact, that he or she no longer looks upon himself or herself as karta and is therefore unaffected by karma.
So at that stage, there is no dharma, adharma, punya, papa, nothing. At that point, all these dualities merge. They disappear. What he's talking, Jnani.
Yeah. No, I think this sentence, sorry. He did not look upon himself as one who was going to be better by performing a certain action. This is very, very important, See, therefore, when he performed karma, it was not for gaining a result for himself. Here, he means we have to put I, ourselves, actually. That is what he is equating ourselves with he, Ishvara. Ishvara and Jiva. I'm talking Jiva, okay? Ourselves means Jiva. So, therefore, when Jiva performed karma, it was not for gaining a result for himself, for Jiva. He did not look upon himself as one who was going to be better by performing a certain action. This sentence is really a bolt, We always think about, if I do this, I will have to do this. I will get this. I will get that. I will get this. So he did not look upon himself as one who was going to be better by performing a certain action. Very profound. Very, very, very profound. We have to go deep.
Jai Gurudev, that means for the sake of performing, you have to perform.
That's it.
That's exactly what I wanted to also say. That is why Gurudev so many times says, why do you want to improve yourself? You're already full. Once in that Guruji, AGA, ask Guruji anything. I think Dinesh Bhaiya had asked something. And he says, why do you want to do that or something? Gurudev asks him. He replies saying, I want to improve myself. Why do you want to go on improving yourself? That is the problem, he says. I didn't quite understand it then, but then when you pointed out this particular sentence, it makes all that, that sense in that.
Really?
Somewhere we feel ourselves incomplete, and therefore we go on doing things to get that completeness, to feel that security. But whereas we're not realizing that we're already complete, we're already secure, we're already perfect. We consider ourselves imperfect. As a jiva, we feel ourselves as alpagnaha, kinchignaha. I don't know this, I have all these problems. So we go on and on and on in the world, working and doing actions in order to kind of get that completeness. But all we need to do is realize that we are nothing but we are. That is why this verse is called a Mahavakya. I'm just going to read this verse.
Oh, good, really.
So that
this we have learned so many times. I had learned this actually, but I had ignored this completely. Means, okay, not like that. But here, when we read this, oh, wonderful! That sentence really bolted me.
Yeah.
That sentence means here in this Namam, what he's telling Mam means we have to think of ourselves, not Krishna.
Which is true, but I'm not sure whether it's good for us to think about it this way. But there may be a danger if
no, there is a danger. That's
there
okay.
is a danger if
yeah. I agree with it. But
someone says, Gurudev, someone asks Gurudev, now I'm not the doer, so I can do anything. I can
anything.
No, I can murder.
Not that way at all.
Then Gurudev says, yes, the police will come and take you. That is also, and also you consider yourself non-doer, non-enjoyer. Don't then say, oh, I'm in prison now, Gurudev, please bless me or please help me. So there is that danger of misusing this knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
Person who's not still a jnani. What this is the person that is being talked of here is a jnani who does not see a difference between Jiva and Atma,
and
Jiva and Parameshwara. Ishvara, Jiva, Bheda is not there. That Samishti Buddhi is there. It is not the Jiva, it is not the Vyashti Buddhi.
That is what Guruji says, no, and say, even if you have become jnani, you should not reveal that you are jnani. What a thing, you see. So good it is. Oh, really good. Wonderful. This verse is really wonderful.
Yeah, I will read this again. Chant this again. Nama karmani limpanti name karma phale spruha iti mam yobhijanati karma bhirna sabadhyate. Actions do not affect me. There is no longing with reference to the result of action for me. The one who knows me clearly in this way is not bound by actions. So what we have to do, I guess, as karma yogis or as sadhaks, is keeping this in mind, we will have to do whatever needs to be done.
That is
be done. We keep this as we yoke ourselves to this concept of this truth that actions do not bind, and ultimately we are not longing for the results of action. But
action.
then we continue doing what is to be done.
Done at that moment, present moment.
Yeah. That is it.
And also there's no raga, dvesha,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and totally we are detached from everything. In that state, only we can perform this.
Yes.
Hari Om, the Nirvana Shatakam becomes so clear now because of this verse.
Yeah.
See, we have to be in moment. That is the meditation, in the moment. Because when you think of the other moment, then you will start thinking what it will lead me, what I will get by the next moment. So you are not in that moment. So in that moment, what is needed, you just do it. Every moment. Really wonderful it is. Really wonderful.
You know,
Also,
when you the future, yeah, go ahead.
And also Gurudev says, you have to make a present moment adda banao. He says, don't allow the present moment even to go fully absorbed, fully be occupied. Adda bana ke raho.
If you go to the future, you are left with bhaya. If you go to the past, you're left with krodha. That is why the previous verse, I think the 10th verse was Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Titadhir Muni Rachyate. So that Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. So it is, like you very rightly pointed out, being in the moment, living in the present moment.
Present moment
is so important, because the moment you think of the past, you're angry about the past, or you regret about the past.
No, you are not in the moment.
Future, you're apprehensive about what will happen. What is the result that will happen? What will I get out of my action? Whereas karma phale spriha, name karma phale spriha, that's a beautiful thing, where you're not even, there's no longing for that result of action. You're just doing what is to be done, and whatever the result, you're taking it. And even then, when you're doing it, you're in the moment. When the result comes also, you're in the moment. You're not affected by that.
Once you start thinking of the profit of what I get of this action, then you are not in that moment. Because already you're thinking future. You see?
Yeah.
And once you are thinking, oh, what I did, regret, means again you are not in the moment. Such a delicate that it is. Wonderful.
But then Gurudev says you must plan for the future in the present.
Yeah.
Look back at your past and learn from your past, like how you keep looking at the rearview mirror from time to time. You don't go on looking at the rearview mirror, you'll end up you'll crash somewhere. From time to time, you need to look at your past and learn from your past and not repeat the same mistakes. At the same time, you cannot not plan for the future. So you plan for the future being in the present. And not get lost in the past or future.
So good, really good.
Yeah, Brahmaraj, when you're not in the past or future, you're automatically you're totally in the present moment. Then the universe works through you. You know? Yeah, absolutely. Correct.
This understanding is liberation, moksha. This particular verse is said to be a Mahavakya because Jiva and Ishvara are equated. Krishna's words, I am not bound, and anyone who knows me is also not bound, reveal the identity between Ishvara and the Jiva, an identity that must be understood. This understanding is liberation, moksha. I'm just going to read this other para as well. If Atma has no distinguishing feature of its own, how many Atmas can there be? Absence of distinguishing features means that there is only one Atma. There is no Ishvara Atma and Jiva Atma. No difference, Bheda, exists between the two. There is only one Atma who is Ishvara, who is Jiva. Why then the seeming difference? It is all due to Upadhi alone. One Upadhi is total, Samashti Upadhi, called Ishvara, and the other is individual, Vyashti Upadhi, called Jiva. And this happens because of the wielding power, the power of Maya that Ishvara wields, which creates Prakriti, all the Panchamahabhutas, the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas, and all those that bring in the Sukshma, the Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and the Karana Sharira, all that happens. So all the Upadhi is, Maya is the biggest Upadhi. And from there, we have this difference, Samishti, Ishvara and Jiva, that Ishvara Jiva Bheda comes in there. But what we need to do is to dissolve that Bheda.
That is what is Viveka. The first pillar of the knowledge. If you understand this, then only Viveka means not that knowledge what we get. The difference, what is Jiva and what is Ishvara, and what is permanent and what is impermanent. That is Viveka, first step.
And when you live a life full of bhakti, there is no bhaya.
Yeah.
So, and time and again, Gurudev has been mentioning this. He says, between the one thing that is connecting jnana, karma, and bhakti is dhyana. He mentioned this also in yesterday's satsang. So, dhyana is the one that connects. It is a karma itself. You're sitting and doing meditation. You're sitting, all that is karma. There is element of bhakti involved. And there is also, you dissolve in that space, jnana. So that is the connecting link, the thread. Therefore, meditation is the key. In the next verse, Krishna again tells Arjuna how to gain this knowledge. Evam jnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam. Evam, in this manner, jnatva, knowing, purvaihi mumukshubhihi, by seekers of ancient times, api, even, karma, action, kritam, was performed, tasmat, therefore, tvam, you, purvaihi, by those who came before, purvataram, in the ancient past, kritam, was done, karma, action, eva, indeed, kuru, do. Knowing me in this manner, let me read this. Evam jnatva purvaihi mumukshubhihi api karma kritam tasmat tvam purvaihi purvataram kritam karma eva kuru. One second. Knowing me in this manner, even seekers of ancient times performed action. Therefore, indeed, perform action just as it is, was done by those who came before in the ancient past. Knowing Krishna, the Lord, in this manner, evam, refers back to what was said in the previous verse. Actions do not affect me. Namam karmani limpanti. There Krishna said that he had no craving for the results of any action because Atma is Purna, complete, and therefore Asanga, free of all attachment. Atma is free from all actions. It has no doership whatsoever. Atma's nature is pure consciousness, free from any kind of volition. Volition is always dependent upon the Atma, but Atma is independent of all volition, all doership. Therefore, with reference to the result of action, karma phala, there is no longing, no trishna in Atma. Because there is no doership for the Atma, actions do not affect Krishna or the person who knows that the self, Atma, and Ishvara are one. And who gains this knowledge? Krishna pointed out earlier in the chapter, in the 10th verse, that many people had already reached him in this way. He did not mean everyone, only those who were seekers, mumukshus, those who wanted liberation. And once they had the knowledge, what did they get? Actions no longer affected them, and they no longer yearned for results. This is what moksha is all about. There is no other moksha, in fact. Having the knowledge does not preclude action. And what did the seekers who had gone before do once they had the knowledge? They performed action. Purvaihi karma kritam. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna that he should do the same. Tasmat tvam karmaiva kuru, which meant that Arjuna should not take to sannyasa. He should do only what was to be done by him. Shankara makes it very clear in his commentary of this verse that Arjuna was not simply to sit quietly, nor was he to take sannyasa. Na tushnim asanam napi sannyasah kartavyaha. He was to do the karma that was his to do, just as earlier seekers had done, even those who already had this knowledge. Krishna is telling Arjuna that if he is a mumukshu, then he should perform action because previously those people who were mumukshus did karma and reached him. Arjuna should do what other seekers before him had done. Purvaihi purvataram kritam, not what people in general had done. The use of the word mumukshu is very relevant here. A mumukshu being a person who wants to gain liberation. Those who are still ignorant and want liberation have to gain the knowledge that will liberate them. Having said that others acquired the knowledge in this way, Krishna says, therefore, with Shraddha, with faith, that you too will gain liberation, please do karma and gain this knowledge. Shankara adds here that a mumukshu who is not yet a jnani and therefore not totally clear about this knowledge should perform action in order to cleanse the mind of all its raga dveshas. Even if one knows the Atma completely, that person should also perform action, not for antakarna shuddhi, but for the sake of others. Loka sangrahartam. Because of the jnani's prarabdha, there is something to be done. Meaning that whatever presents itself for him or her to do is to be done for the good of the people. This action does not affect the jnani in any way because the person does not take himself or herself to be the doer. The word mumukshu can indicate either a seeker or one who is already liberated. Jivan mukta. In either case, karma is to be done. Krishna says Arjuna himself could decide whether he was an ajnani or a jnani, but still he has to perform action. Either way, he would not lose anything by doing what was to be done. Inaction never leads to liberation. Krishna wants to make sure that Arjuna did not think he would be liberated by not doing karma. But at the same time, it must be clearly understood that doing karma is not going to liberate a person either. It can only bring about antahkarana shuddhi. as we have already seen. Doing karma is not a direct means of liberation, but it is an indirect means because it helps prepare your mind so that the knowledge can take place. The point here is that not doing karma will not help in any way. And undone karma never helps you because something that is not done cannot produce a result of any kind. On the other hand, a karma that is done, kritam karma, always produces some result, either an ordinary karma phala or antakarana shuddhi or both. Naishkarmya, the state of actionlessness that is moksha, is not gained by not doing karma. Not doing action does not amount to total actionlessness because you will always be doing one thing or the other. Non-doership is to be understood as the very nature, swarupa of oneself. Therefore, Krishna says to Arjuna here, all these karmas you see me doing do not affect me in any way. I am totally unaffected by all of them. Because he is totally unaffected by action and their results, Krishna as Ishvara has no partiality either. If Krishna wanted certain results, that is, if he had phala spriha, he would be doing one thing for one person and another for another, based on what he wanted from these people. There would also be those for whom he would do nothing because there was nothing to be gained from them. He would help only those people who day after day flatter him with the same words. Oh Bhagavan, you're so wonderful, so great, you are everything. And about the others, he would say, since they don't care for me, I'm not going to care for them. This would mean that Bhagavan also wants to be cared for and loved, and not just by one person, but by everyone. God does not have such problems because he has no longing for the result of any action. Name karma phale spriha. He does not get anything out of people loving him. He is completely detached from all of this. And so are you, just by knowing Ishvara. Hence Krishna says, the one who knows me clearly, yaha maam abhijanati, is also out of this karma and is not bound by it at all. By telling Arjuna that a number of people from ancient times onwards had achieved him by doing karma, Krishna is saying that Arjuna should also do karma. He did not want Arjuna to become confused, thinking that by not doing karma, he would gain moksha, actionlessness. Since there can be so much confusion about the concept of actionlessness, Krishna begins a new section here in which he explains the true meaning of action and inaction. So often Gurudev says, he is not affected whether we do seva or not. Whether the course happens or not, he's actually not affected. He says he's giving us an opportunity to actually, to say it in his own words, he says,
Be my instrument.
Yeah, he says, whether you do it or not, he is not going to be affected. We are not doing it for his sake. He is giving us an opportunity to do. All the seva and, or whatever he has given us is an opportunity for us to do seva and therefore purify ourselves, to become, get that antakarana shuddhi. And whether you do it or not, the work will be done. So even when we are organizing courses and conducting courses and whatever seva we are doing, we are not doing it for his sake. We are actually doing it for our own sake, for he's giving us an opportunity to uplift ourselves. So here, this paragraph very clearly explains that. You know, it is not like, oh, you go on praising Bhagavan and Bhagavan he's partial to those people who praise him, and he does not take care of those who do not do it. God does not have such problems because he has no longing for the result of any action. Name karma phale spriha. He does not get anything out of people loving him. He is completely detached from all of this. So since there can be
from this word,
yeah,
verse, we have to follow the person. What he says is the earlier what they have done. Means we have to,
yeah.
So we have to follow Guruji. That is what it is. What he is doing, how he is doing, then we will be doing what? The seva, the same thing. Seva is that only, So his wish, if we do it, it will be seva. Instead of we clinging on to what wish we had, so if we do his wish, it will be a duty to be done at that moment.
Yeah. Since there can be so much confusion around the concept of actionlessness, Krishna begins a new section here in which he explains the true meaning of action and inaction. Kim karma kima karmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami yajñatva mokshase shubhat. Kim, what? Karma, action. Kim, what? Akarma, actionlessness. Iti, thus, atra, here, with reference to this subject matter. Kavayaha, seekers or scholars. Api, even. Mohitaha, confused. Yat, which. Jnatva, knowing. Ashubhat, from that which is inauspicious, that is samsara. Mokshase, you will be released. Tat, that. Te, to you. Karma, action. Pravakshyami, I shall tell. Kim karma, kim akarma iti atra kavayaha api mohitaha yat jnatva ashubhat mokshase tat te karma pravakshyami. Even the seekers or scholars are confused with reference to what is action and what is actionlessness. I shall tell you about action, knowing which you will be released from what is inauspicious, samsara. The subject matter under discussion is karma, action. Kavayaha is the plural of kavi, which can mean a poet, a seer, or the Lord. Kavi can also refer to an informed person who is one who is intellectually highly accomplished, a medhavi, a person who simply stores information in his or her memory and blurts it out on command, just like a floppy disk does, is not a medhavi. A medhavi is one who understands the subject thoroughly and retains it, complete with all the details. You know, it is very coincidental that I was, today I was just thinking, the one prayer that I have is to, when we are reading all of this, when we are understanding all of this, to understand it and maintain the purity of that, of what is being said in the purest form. So this Medhavi is actually that. Medhavi is one who understands the subject thoroughly and retains it complete with all the details. Because the other day I was trying to share what Gurudev said in Satsang, And I was not able to share all what he said, or exactly what he said. So that itself is I think it's a gift. It's a beautiful gift if one can retain this knowledge in all its purity and understand it thoroughly, and not just get the statements superficially. We need to make this our understanding and maintain the purity. There are still others who can understand the subject matter and not retain the details. Such a person is also blessed. Okay, so this is also fine. In this verse, Kavaya refers to those who are able to understand the subject matter and can also retain the details. Even such people, Krishna says, are confused, mohita, about karma and akarma, action and actionlessness. What is action? Kim karma? What is actionlessness? Kim akarma? Since even informed people are not very clear about this subject matter, it cannot be assumed that karma refers only to action done and akarma to action not done. Obviously, such an approach is too simplistic. Therefore, Krishna says to Arjuna, I will tell you what karma is. Te karma pravakshami. Karma meaning both karma and akarma. Shankara confirms in his commentary on this verse that karma here stands for both karma and akarma. Karma cha akarma, akarma cha. To understand karma, akarma must also be understood, knowing which you will be liberated. Yat jnatva mokshase. From the inauspicious, ashubhat, meaning from samsara. Shubha is a very beautiful word to refer to something that ends well. It is often found at the end of books, in the same way that we find the word finis. While finis merely means the book has ended, Shubha means that it has ended well. Anything auspicious, anything good is called Shubha, and Ashubha means the opposite, that which is inauspicious or not very good. Here we can take it as Shankara does to mean samsara. Samsara is Ashubha and it ends in moksha. Therefore, moksha alone is Shubha. When samsara ends, there is moksha, which is called Shubha. Until then, it is all Ashubha, all samsara. The grand finale of samsara, the auspicious end, is called Shubha. From this inauspicious samsara, you will be relieved, liberated, freed. This then is one way to take the word Ashubha in this verse. There is another way of looking at Ashubha here. As long as you have any doubts in your head, they gnaw away at you and create problems. They are like bugs with their many wings and legs bustling around in your ears and creating a disturbance. Doubts, therefore, are called Ashubha. They have to come to an end and do so only when everything is understood clearly. What has to be understood here is the nature of karma and akarma. All understanding ends up in Atma. We shall see that the understanding of karma itself is the understanding of Atma and Anatma. In fact, the thorough understanding of any topic will always end up in Atma alone. If you take any one thing, Shanti, Sukha, Dukkha, Jagat, a name or form, mind and its nature, and so on, and analyze it, it will resolve into Atma. This is why we can begin anywhere. Everything is connected. Nothing is unconnected. It's just like a circle. Wherever you begin in the circle, you complete it. If you remove the doubts with reference to karma, you will remove samsara for good. You are released from the doubts themselves And this release is the gain of moksha. When ignorance, the knot of the heart, is resolved, all doubts fall apart. All the karmas standing in one's account are destroyed when that Brahman, the Paramatma, that is Ishvara and Jiva, is understood. And this happens in one stroke. In one stroke should not be misunderstood to imply action. This all happens in terms of knowledge alone, the stroke of knowledge. In the next verse, Krishna explains further why this karma and akarma have to be known. That is why the fourth chapter is called Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Jnanena Karma Sannyasa Yoga. It is with Jnana Karma Sannyasa.
Again, here I want to point Guruji's that word doubt, Sandeha. He says, Sandeha. When you are attached to Deha, all doubt starts. So to come out of this doubt, he says, concentrate on the Chaitanya, that is prana. So when you do the pranayama, you are clearing your doubts. That's how he practically implies it, Here the doubt is karma and akarma. So wonderfully told.
Can you please repeat it?
That's in, I will send that. I had sent it earlier, I think. Sandeha, Sandeha means you are attached to Deha. When you are attached to Deha, all doubt starts. Means Ashubha. Is this Shubha means you are not, you are completely
Free from
jnani,
doubts.
beyond doubts. That is what moksha. But when there is something, you are in the samsara, means you are with your body still, you are with the sandeha, means we are attached to the body. So how to go about it to remove the doubt is to, instead of attaching importance to the deha, you make awareness, be with the prana, that is the Chaitanya, prana Shakti. That Shakti. Once you are with that, you are dissolving the deha. That is a practical meaning of this. So once we do the pranayama, we will be dissolving our doubt and we'll be with the Chaitanya, we'll be with the Atma.
Very beautiful. This is what he's been saying all along, yesterday, day before also. He says, does the mind have a face? He keeps asking just before the meditation he conducts. The body has a face. Every body has a face. The physical body has a face. But is there a face to the mind? When you look at it, he says, close your eyes and think about it. Does the mind have a face? It is not. It is just energy. So at that level, we're all just energy. And even when you consider that samatva bhavana happens when you look at the mind as without a face. That Shakti, that the Atma Chaitanya, whatever we're talking about, is nothing but energy, is that scintillating energy that is there in every being.
Therefore, when we close our eyes, we witness that Chaitanya. Therefore, we close our eyes and do the dhyana.
Basically, take the senses inwards.
Yeah.
these are very important steps, isn't it? Otherwise, we keep on doing sadhana, seva also, but this wisdom has to like dawn and we need to inculcate that. Then only the in real sense the liberation will get established more and more. So these mananas and these sessions are very, very precious and important. Can't miss it. Jai Gurudev.
And when you take your mind inwards, when you close your eyes, there is always a danger of getting lost in your inner world. That is why Gurudev also has done open eye meditation. Because outside with our eyes open, we get lost in the material world. But when we close our eyes for meditation, we may be seemingly closing our eyes, but then we might just get lost in that inner world. So they're taking the middle path, being in that moment. That is exactly what we do in the Sahaj. Using the mantra, you stay in the moment.
Crack open your eyes, he says now.
Yeah, isn't it? Because otherwise you might just get lost in that inner world of fantasy. Whatever, it could be the past, future, whatever that fantasy world, you might just get lost in that. So both are taking you away from yourself. But staying in the middle, staying in the present. Experiencing the depth of the present moment is meditation. And that is very deep.
That we had learned, no, that is pramana. Lost in the dream, what was that? 3 stages. One is the Ishvara, absolute, and the empirical one.
You're
And
talking
the
of pratibhasika satta.
pratibhasa. So once when you close eyes, we might go into pratibhasa.
So there are 3 C's we talked of, no? Pratibhasika, Vyavaharika, and Paramarthika. Consciousness, cosmos, and chaos. Chaos is what is self-created. The Pratibhasika is subjective.
This whole world is like that.
Chaos from the cosmos to consciousness is our journey. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi. Karmanaha of actions, api also, bodhavyam is to be known, vikarmanaha of the forbidden action, cha and bodhavyam is to be known, akarmanaha of actionless, cha and bodhavyam is to be known, he because karmanaha of karma, gatihi nature, gahana is difficult to understand. Karmanaha api bodhavyam, vikarmanaha cha bodhavyam, akarmanaha cha bodhavyam, hi karmanaha gatihi gahana. Action enjoined by the scriptures is also to be known. Forbidden action and actionlessness must also be known. This is because the nature of karma is difficult to understand. Should I stop here? We'll do some manana because it's already 6 o'clock. I don't know how long this is. No, it's only a small verse. I think I will do this and then we can discuss. Here, Krishna first divides karma, meaning action in general, into 2 types. Action that is to be done, karma, and action that is not to be done, vikarma. What is to be done must of course be known, and what is not to be done must also be known. Furthermore, if you think that actionlessness, akarma, is not doing karma, then akarma also has to be known. You must know what is meant by not doing karma. Is it the non-performance of action, or is it the absence of doership? This you have to know. If akarma is the absence of doership, then the non-performance of a given action does not amount to akarma, as Krishna himself would clarify later. Why is all this analysis needed? Because one should not take karma in a simplistic way, nor is it easy to understand. People sometimes tell me, Swamiji, I have heard enough about karma. I want jnana. If karma were known by these people, they would have the knowledge jnana too. Karma has to be known, but it is difficult to know. Gahana. The simple do's and don'ts are not what is to be known. What must be known is the very nature of karma itself. Gahana means that the subject matter of karma and akarma is shrouded in confusion. Because you do not see it clearly, you need to clear away the mist. And to do this, you have to bring in light. Karma is not as simple as you think. If you understand the nature of karma, you will understand reality, Brahman, everything being connected as it is. To say that karma is to be known is to say that everything else connected with it has to be known also. Thus, Krishna introduces the subject matter of karma and akarma in this verse and the preceding one. The answer to the question, what is karma and what is akarma, is given in the next verse, along with some words in praise of the person who understands action and actionlessness clearly. The next verse we'll take tomorrow. Karmanyah karmayah paschet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manusheshu sayukta kritsna karma krita. I think we'll stop here and do some manana. Maybe we can all close our eyes and then just reflect upon all that was learned, and then we can come up.
I like the definition of Shubha and Ashubha.
Yeah.
So when anybody blesses Shubhamastu, means it is moksha only. Shubha means only moksha. If it is not moksha, then it is all Ashubha. What a definition it is. Wonderful. We take it so easily.
So Shubha has two meanings there. One is moksha, and the other is a state where you are devoid of doubts, isn't it? Jnana. Isn't that what was there?
Will you go back there?
But yeah, one is auspicious, inauspicious. Anything good is called Shubha. Shubha is also something that ends well. That is, it is ended well. Anything auspicious is called Shubha, and anything opposite of that, inauspicious, is Ashubha, which is samsara over here. So samsara versus moksha, that is Shubha, Ashubha and Shubha. That is the other way of looking at it is, as long as you have doubts in your head, that is Ashubha. They go on eating away your energy because you feel incomplete. They have to come to an end, and do so only when everything is understood clearly. So that understanding is Shubha. The clearing of the doubts is Shubha. What has to be understood here is the nature of karma. And whatever you take, ultimately it gives you the Atma Jnana. Whether you talk of samsara, where you talk of the mind, you talk of shanti, you talk of dukkha, jagat, anything, it will ultimately resolve in the atma. That is why we can begin anywhere, because everything is connected. That is why he says, if you understand karma, you will be relieved from ashubha. But Krishna, Arjuna was all hell-bent on dropping karma. He dropped his Gandiva and he wanted to go to Rishikesh. So there, Krishna says, brings him back to ground reality, saying, you understand what karma is, what akarma is, what is actionlessness, what is naishkarmya. Because naishkarmya is not just not doing anything, because no one can just sit without doing anything, because there is so much of activity still happening. So naishkarmya actually is the understanding that you are the non-doer, akarta. When the kartritva bhavana is dropped, then whether you do or not do does not matter. That name karma phale spruha, you're not the results of the action, you're not hankering on for. That is why you do karma. Karma is required for two things. One, for a sadhak, it is required for antakarana shuddhi. For a mumukshu, whereas for a jnani, it is required for loka sangrahartham. He still does karma. For what? For the sake of others. Like how Gurudev is doing. Gurudev does not require to do all these at all. He does not require to attend satsang, sit and meditate and, do all those. He is mukta himself, but he's doing it for loka sangrahartham. And the meaning of a kavi, the medhavi, is very beautiful. It is not someone who just stores information in his or her memory and blurts it out on command. That is just he is not a medhavi. A medhavi is one who understands a subject thoroughly and retains it complete with all the details.
And how many times we have understood the word karma? We loosely say, it's my karma. We don't associate that karma with our action. Many times. Means common people. Now we are knowing it, we know it. But the common people, they say, oh, it's my karma. But they don't feel that what they are doing is that karma. So that's very, very loosely understood the word karma.
Yeah. See, Nana is, I would consider him a medhavi, as also Gurudev. If you listen to Gurudev's answer to the question, there was some political question that was raised yesterday. And how beautifully he answered that, quoting some Subhashitanis. Out of the blue, he just quoted them. And he gave such a clear understanding of why there should be disparity in the political field. Only then can there be actual growth, he says. Because if there is no contradictions, then there is like, it's like dictatorship. Whereas only when there is opposition, only when there is a difference of opinion. That is why he actually quotes something. He talks of the Subhashitani where the lion in the forest, because the lion sleeps after eating its kill, after having its full, the other animals in the forest are able to survive. If the lion was active throughout, there would be no animal in the forest if the lion was to hunt all the time. So this contrast is very, very essential.
Brahmaraji, can you send that link again for the satsang? Like you sent
Guruvani,
the
right?
other day?
Yeah. The Bhakti Utsav is, I've sent it in the group. Guruvani is also there, was done yesterday in Nanded.
Ah,
And I would
please.
suggest that none of us miss these sessions because he is, of course, every session of Gurudev is
It's very good. Yes.
profound, but it is live, no? It is live and it is coming up.
What time it is? 7 o'clock?
It is, the satsang, I think, started at 6:30 India time. But by the time Gurudev came, it was, I think it was a little later, maybe half. I can't remember when exactly he came, but he was there.
During these days, little I'm very busy.
Yeah, you
My
can
daughter-
listen to the link. You can listen to the YouTube afterwards also. And the meditations he's conducting are very, very profound. Every meditation is beautiful, but he's in fact told them. He says this will, because this is like a yajna, no? He says whatever sankalpa you have, take the sankalpa and then just offer it. That is, and it will manifest.
Meditations were so deep, so much of silence. Even if
Yeah.
one kid also, they were not, making any noise.
Correct. Nanded was really beautiful. He was very, and he sang himself and he gave the meaning of Vithala. He asked, how many of you know the meaning of Vithala? Thal. Thal means that which is, what is that?
Unshakable.
Unshakable, that which is grounded, which is stable, which
Yeah.
which is rooted. So the one that is achalaha, the Atma which is achalaha, the unchanging, that entity, that is what you're thinking of when you're singing of Vithala, Vithala. And Visheshataha achala, he's like, he's a special, that V comes in because of that special connotation there. And he's given it beautifully. I'm not actually saying exactly what he's saying, but I would encourage all of you to listen to that.
He had told this earlier also. I had heard it.
See, when we sing automatically, and one thing, Rinal, you're here, right? You've been asking how to increase faith and bhakti and all, right? That has been one of your questions. Yesterday, Gurudev said in satsang, he says, sometimes your faith may come down or your bhakti, you might seemingly come down. In that case, you come back by singing, chanting, being in knowledge, then automatically it will strengthen your faith. It will bring it back. All of this nourish the faith.
Yeah, even I mean, in Kolhapur, he had said that it's like covered by ash.
Right.
Yeah, I just have to blow it, and I'm here to do that. Can you believe this? I asked the question and he answers this, and I am here to do that.
Right. Isn't it?
Yeah,
I was thinking about you.
my thing was like, see, as what you were saying, by singing and being with in satsanga and all, the bhakti will be there, but it may not be that lasting. It's just an outside effort to do that. But the kind of bhakti Parsiji has, or the Shraddha, total Shraddha he has or you have, somewhere I feel that I lack that. And now today, whatever we have read, I shouldn't be even saying this, but because we are Purna, we don't have to improve. And my question invalidates here those things. But somewhere I feel the way you don't doubt at all. Many times I don't do that. I mean, I still have that doership, like, I have to take this decision. I can't leave it to everything to somebody else. As much as I can do, whatever is in my hand, I should be doing. And then left, whatever is left, I will leave it to God or Guruji, whatever. But still that doership is there. But I have seen you or Percy Ji or many others. They have you people have total faith, and that's where I feel it's so nice to mm, carefree and so relaxed. That's where I this question keeps coming.
You are on the
It
path.
is unnecessary doubt, I feel so, because see, you have to do Purushartha, and when you are doing it, be 100% with it, and then you surrender it to God. Result ke liye we have to totally surrender it to Guru or God. But till the time, means while you are in the whole this thing, you are doing something, be 100% with it, and that is what you are doing. That it is not that doership as you feel so. That surrender is there. No, that is why we are sitting in these sessions, and we cannot compare it with somebody others. Everybody, all of us, we have that, and it is kindled by different ways. That those are the ways of the Guru. Definitely, miss, that is why that right and left brain, no, as I said, in between, we need to little bit do the satsang also, sing also, little bit get up and dance, little bit, even for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And some Guru stories, definitely again and again, that balance has to happen. Karma, bhakti, karma, bhakti, karma, bhakti. Totally get lost into the bhakti will also not help. Totally getting lost into the karma will also not help. That is the walking on the sword, no? You have to balance it, and you are doing it 100%. It is just in your mind.
Mrinalji, you are on the path. Don't doubt.
Thank
You are
so
on the
much.
path. Otherwise, you will not be in this path at all.
Mrinal, can I share where your doubt is coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Mrinal is a VTP graduate, and she'd actually applied and almost got to. I don't think she applied for the TTC. She also got the invite, but it stopped at paying fees, and then she has a few health concerns. I'm sorry, Mrinal. I'm just sharing so that we can all help.
No,
Something.
no concern. You can
So,
go ahead, please.
yeah. So it is at that stage, and probably that is where your doubt is coming from, isn't it, Mrinal? Where you're not able
That's
to take
right.
that plunge.
Mm.
Why am I not able to take that plunge? Why am I taking full responsibility for my decision? That's fine. That Gurudev has brought you thus far. You have to take that one little step. He's there waiting to take you, pull you up the 99 steps. That one step is paying up your fees and booking your tickets. That's it. And then leave the rest. That one step you have. That is your Purushartha. Your Purushartha is not because you are probably more kind of caught up in the consequences. You're worried about the consequences of what might happen. So therefore, you're kind of, that spontaneous action is not happening. You just have to let go. If I can, quote the example of Sunita. Sunita is, both of you were in the same batch, isn't it? In fact,
That's
you
right.
started the Art of Living journey together, and she just took the plunge, and that one step has you know it's just opened up so much. So that is what I would also suggest that you do. Don't
Yeah.
worry about what will happen. It is that the worry is what is holding you back, and that is what you think you don't have faith. Of course you have the faith.
No,
is,
excuse me. I
yeah,
want to interrupt here. I want to tell that Guruji always tells, we always doubt our strength. If I tell I love you, you'll all say, oh, do you love? But if I say I hate you, you'll just believe it. So when you are having a doubt means you are doubting your strength. You, you see your strength, please, and move forward.
Yeah, no, the doubt was on my weakness. That was, I started having some problem with my leg. And there, the kind of exercise, and still I'm having that problem, and it had worsened. And sometimes I feel that, yes, my decision was right, because I wouldn't have been able to do any of the exercise, wouldn't have been able to sit or so. Um, Many a times I feel that, yeah, the decision which I took, because see, I would have suffered, plus I would have put my family in worry, like they were not ready for me to go over there. So as a duty, I felt that I should not put everyone in trouble, including myself, and that was the decision I took. Yeah, and in a way I feel that, yes, that was the right decision. But sometimes I feel, somewhere I'm, maybe if I had been so strong in mind, I would have just gone, like Brahmaraji was saying. The consequences would have, I would have seen, maybe I wouldn't have had any problem. Even Persiji had said, give a chance of faith, give a chance, like have faith and do. That step I could not take. I was totally into my body. Yes, I'm having problem. I will end up in problem. This was a strong thing. And of course, though I was here, I could see that I was not well. I had to go through some infections and all. And yeah, sorry to bring my personal thing over
no,
here.
no, why sorry? In fact, we're here to clarify
Yeah,
and improve, not, yeah, to clarify things, no?
I think
That,
we are here to see each other grow,
yeah,
like
exactly.
give this thing. I can only say one thing: with full faith, just have faith in the master. Give a chance for miracles to happen in your life. I've seen people getting well the moment they are in the presence of the master. All these physical ailments, I'm 100% sure he is able to make them dissolve in a split second. I've seen it happening with my own eyes. Normally, we talk about knowledge. He says, don't talk about miracles. But and I'm telling you, have faith in him. I personally have been healed by him at least twice. At least twice. And if you trust me, I'm telling you, just give a chance for miracles. I never told him that I was unwell. I never told him what was my issue. He never asked me. But subtly, at the subtle level, he is Antaryami. He has Durdrashti. Both of are present with him. He just performs miracles. He never talks about it. He asks us also not to talk about it. I've
Right.
seen so many teachers being healed by him, like their eye movement, they can't rotate their eyeballs. They have undergone uh, delivery, and then the spinal cord has moved. And then the orthopedic doctor through the rectum puts his fingers inside and tries to bring the bone back. But somehow, in certain times, they don't meet with it is a failure. They can't put it back in place. Such people who have never been able to sit on ground, our teachers, Gurudev has just said them close their eyes, take a deep breath in. He has done what he has to do, and he said, now sit down. He very affirmatively said it, and they just sat down and they could sit on the ground. I mean, I don't want to. He said, don't talk about miracles, but I'm telling you, this will happen. No matter what your physical ailment, just land there. I've seen people with cervical problem wearing the dog's collar on their neck, whatever you call it. I don't know what it is called, cervical collar
Cervical
or something.
collar.
Yeah. So that kind of collar they used to wear, and they've gone there. And then nowadays they become more strict. Like they make you do seva till the last moment, and then you have to rush back to the hall and all those kind of things. So she was a little delicate. She was Asia Pacific head in Cap Gemini, taking teams, leading teams over the so many countries. She left all that and she's become a full-time teacher. And she was, even now she came on this Sattva talks and she mentioned that seeing Percy G's this thing, I got enthused and I kicked my, she also kicked the job. But it's like that. And nothing goes wrong. Just leave everything to the master and go. I have seen husband and wife coming for advanced course when the children were tiny. And when they go home, the children have cooked food for them. They never thought that these children were possible, like both of them in school, like, and the younger one saying that, how will I communicate with you? And then there is some game, Scrabbles. I have never played it. I don't know about it. But they said that we'll work something like that. Through that communicate. I don't know what that game is. But that is how that youngster was to communicate with parents. But both of them came. Just that faith that was there was so strong that they both sat through the advanced course. And now one is gone. That younger child who was going to communicate through Scrabbles has gone for aeronautical space engineering to America. And the other one is happily married with 2 children. And both were school kids. So now the 3rd generation will be with me once they grow up, if I'm alive.
So beautiful.
So allow miracles. They happen. I'm really telling you this. I've seen them.
Thank you so much.
When I look back, Mrunalji, I never in my dreams also could think that I will be able to go through for 15 days. But then you need to pinpoint exactly what your concern is and then surrender it. Then only when you surrender it, then only he will take care of those all issues. How
See, all this
small
Shama, Dama
things.
and all that we talk about, that 15 days is meant for that. Titiksha, Uparati, all those 6 wells which we are talking about are taken care of on those 15 days in TTC. That discipline comes in over there. And then thereafter we lose it again. We don't maintain it. He has shown us the path. We need to walk on it. We need to walk on it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Even Krishna says, no, in the previous verses, only if you pray will you get, will your answers, your prayers be answered. If someone does not pray, then he's there, all giver. He's giving. He's there to give everything, abundance. But we need to make that. Even Gurudev says, you put in your little effort. Even if you can't communicate with me directly, you write a letter, do that little bit. So often people, they write a letter and they put it in front of Gurudev's thing. Even that bit, that is the Purushartha. So I think next TTP, Mrinal is on with all our
Yes.
support.
And
Yes, surely,
here
surely.
one small funny incident I want to share, that we think that only by writing something and putting it into the box or writing him directly, it makes sense. When I was not even a teacher, I had this habit of writing the diary. And then automatically it became my habit. Even on our spiritual journey also, I used to put some these things regarding that also, like long kriya or anything, whatever is happening in the path also, I used to write it down properly. And we we were in Rishikesh, maybe 2002 or 1 or something, very initial days. And he mentioned each and every line from my diary and looking at me and winking. So you cannot escape from him. Whatever your botherations are there, even if you write it down in your own diary, no one has read it. But he reads it. He knows everything. So
Knowing.
have that 100% faith. It's very funny, but it works wonders. Jai Guru.
Really, I'll share myself one.
Can we,
Yes.
Sureshji, if you don't mind, can we?
Oh,
hold it
time
next?
is out. Okay.
We'll do it tomorrow.
It's
Yeah.
really wonderful.
Yeah.
Miracle. If you tell miracles, go on telling it.
Yeah, I know. We can have a whole session with miracles. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Guru Dev.
Gurudev.